Ionavation. We out in New Rochelle, Ionavation. Moving with Intel, Ionavation. Now we in the groove.
Hello, Ionavators. Welcome back to the Ionavation Podcast. I'm Riana.
And I'm Gerry.
And today we have a very special guest with us, Stacey Blume, who's an experienced fashion entrepreneur and the founder and CEO of Blume, Elastifuse Tech, and Noble Titan. So welcome, Stacey. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Just to start us off, can you tell us a little bit about how you were introduced to the fashion industry and how you developed a passion for it?
Sure. It was a newly discovered passion later in life. I was actually getting my master's of social work at UCLA, and one of my best friends out there in California was a fashion designer and a stylist, and I was very inspired by everything she was doing. I just thought it was really cool and fun. I helped her. She had one big sale to Urban Outfitters, and it was really exciting. She had a shirt that just seemed to end up on billboards and celebrities and in People magazine. And so, yeah, I helped her with bagging and tagging and just getting that order ready for, a big store like Urban Outfitters. And when my dad was out in LA visiting me, he was actually on a business trip, but we got to spend some time together. I dragged him into Urban Outfitters to see my best friend Natalie's line. I was like, oh, you got to see this shirt that she made. It was his first time inside an Urban Outfitters. And he noticed the Dickies clothing brand. My family's in the uniform business, so Dickies was very familiar to him. And he said, oh, Dickies? Like the uniform company Dickies? I'm like, yes, like the uniform company. He's like, this is the same Dickies? I said, yes, that's the same Dickies. He said, the kids wear Dickies? I said, yes, kids wear Dickies. He says, at this price, this is what they pay? This is fashion? And I said, yes. And he said, well, I've got a warehouse full of this stuff. And that was my big aha moment. That was the big inspiration for, oh, whoa, wait a minute, he does. I worked at the uniform company a couple summers when I was in high school, and I never, ever thought I wanted to go into the family business. I was not excited or intrigued by it at all. But the next time I was home in New Jersey, I was never so excited to walk up and down those aisles in that warehouse and look at all of the utilitarian type of clothing he had and patches and emblems. And I came back to LA with bags full of different things that I could get creative with. So I made t-shirts and underwear and hats that had patches that said security and police, and I rhinestoned them, and I showed them to my friend Natalie, and I thought I was going to have my one big sale to Urban Outfitters just like she did. And she helped me put the whole thing together. We sent out a package, a big box of all these samples, and Urban Outfitters sent it back and said, no, thank you. So I wasn't discouraged, though. I was still determined because I wore the t-shirts out and the hats, and I would get stopped by, oh, I like your shirt. I said, oh, I made it, and I knew that there was enough there that it was wanted by some other people. So I ended up selling off the samples at a flea market, and we sold out right away. So I came back to New Jersey and New York, and this idea of a brand connected to the patches and the uniform type clothing was still very much something I wanted to do. Even though Urban Outfitters said no, I was like, you know what? I think there's something here. And I had some powwow sessions with my brother, and he invested a little bit of money to get it going. We had a photo shoot and built a website, and we were really fortunate. The day my website went live, it was reported that Jennifer Lopez bought some Ben underwear. So that was our first kind of big item, was personalized underwear. And it was reported in People magazine and on the Today Show that she was into her Ben underwear. This was the height of the whole Benifer phenomenon. This was 2003.
That's awesome.
2002, 2003, end of 2002. So that launched my company, and we were kind of off to the races. My first company, Blume, specializing in personalization with those, gas station attendant name patches.
That's awesome.
Thank you. It was exciting. I didn't know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. It just kind of all happened.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that next, is that when you were in college, like I know you said you were involved in like social work, you didn't think you'd ever end up as like an entrepreneur where you are today?
I did not. I was studying psychology. Then I went on to get my master's of social work. And I mean, I did do some entrepreneurial things in college, thinking back. Undergrad, I went to University of Michigan, and a friend made some t-shirts that said, good shirt, good school. And there was a big M on it. And I did buy a bunch of inventory from him and then go door to door with some friends in the dorms. And we did sell shirts. So that was a little entrepreneurial activity I do remember. But I was kind of on a path thinking I was going to be a social worker. And I was a social worker for about 5 years. I started my business, Blume, my first fashion business, on the side. So this was really my side hustle. I was doing radio interviews during my lunch break. And then when I would come home from work at night, I would just jump on my computer and deal with any customer service questions. And I was very lucky. My brother was my partner, and he was dealing with the infrastructure of getting the orders out the door. But it took 2 years for Blume being my side hustle before the company was generating enough revenue for me to take a salary.
Wow. How did you know, I know like you mentioned a little bit about Noble Titan and Blume. How did you know that it was underwear that you wanted to sell and not like jackets or like coats?
Well, the truth is we did make up samples of all types of clothing, t-shirts, hats, and underwear. It was just the underwear with the names on it that got the most attention. I guess they got the most laughs and the most, oh my God, look at this. So even though we did offer other items when we launched, that was definitely the one that was selling the most. Blume did expand. We offered dog t-shirts that were personalized and baby clothes. The baby clothes did also take off. That was kind of our next big category for Blume. We ended up licensing out the name to a bigger company who was able to deliver like Bye Bye Baby and Babies R Us, the bigger stores who wanted to carry the brand. So yeah, but we started with underwear just because it got the most the most attention and the biggest reactions.
Yeah, and just to follow up, can you tell us a little bit about Elastifuse and how you're motivated to start that?
Sure. So while I was building Blume, I started with women's underwear, then expanded to baby clothes. We also did do some dog clothes. The men's underwear, at the time, we were really embellishing on American Apparel blanks. We weren't a cut and sew operation that was making our own t-shirts or underwear. So at the time, American Apparel didn't make men's underwear yet. There were no plain boxers and briefs. So I did one of my stores in LA who had a big celebrity following. He was getting a lot of attention and a lot of press with the Blume personalized underwear for women. But he's like, Stacey, I need a version of men's. I don't care if you do this on Calvin Klein or To Exist, you slap that patch on some men's underwear for me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to slap the patch on a different brand. Like, I can't do that. I got to create my own men's underwear. So that's when I started researching and just looking up different brands. And I just kept noticing, that band was always emblazoned with the brand's name: Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, Ralph Lauren. And of course, those are amazing, iconic fashion houses that I have the utmost respect for. But I just thought the practice of men wearing other men's names right there on their waistline, like, that's a sexy piece of real estate that they were giving up to a big brand like Ralph Lauren or Calvin Klein. And I just thought it would be a lot cooler and more comfortable if that band around their waist was a sweatband instead of the traditional elastic brand we're all used to.
Definitely.
Elastic band that we're all used to. So yeah, that was my big aha moment for Elastifuse technology, which is really just sweatband elastic. When the idea hit me, I knew it was something bigger than what I could create right away. I ran to Modell's or Dick's, and I went and I bought regular sweatbands and I cut them open and I attached them to shorts and sports bras and underwear. And to this idea of sweatband elastic, I was making prototypes to see like, oh, okay, let me see if this works. And it actually didn't, like a regular sweatband doesn't hold up, like the shrinkage, the elasticity, it doesn't function the way you need elastic to function. So it was a long road for me to figure out how to actually make this product, even though I had this idea that I thought would be a lot simpler to execute. It ended up taking many more years than I ever imagined. But I did go down the path of protecting the idea. So I have 8 granted patents that when you attach a sweatband elastic to the waist at underwear or women's underwear, men's underwear, activity shorts, sweatpants, yoga pants, sports bras. So all of that is protected. And that's my intellectual property. So my vision was that I was just going to be able to sell this to a global athletic company and just kind of let them take this idea and run with it. However, after many meetings and many more years, it became clear that I needed to create my own brand in order to prove the concept. And that's what Noble Titan is.
That's great.
So what are some of your most rewarding experiences as an entrepreneur through both the businesses that you had?
I love the creative process. I love coming up with an idea and creating the product and then seeing it in the marketplace, seeing someone enjoy it, having someone tell me, wow, this band really works. I used to, sweat and my underwear used to be all wet and now it's dry because of this Elastifuse band. If it's helped their performance and their comfort, I'm really happy to hear that. I loved, when I created the baby clothes, I loved seeing people share the photos of their kids wearing personalized Blume clothing. So yeah, just the process of creating and then seeing it out there in the world.
Yeah, it's super fulfilling. Just to, lastly, we just wanted to ask you, what advice do you have for young entrepreneurs looking to start their business while they're in school right now?
I think it's amazing if you've got an idea and the passion to move it forward. Just take one little step at a time and don't put too much pressure or stress on yourself. It's awesome to have a side hustle. You learn so much in the process. And it's just great experience. So keep going and give yourself a pat on the back for even just attempting to make it happen.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. So before we wrap up, we just want to thank Stacey again for coming on and giving us her time. Before we go, follow us on social media at Hynes Institute on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. All of those sites, TikTok as well. We're on TikTok. So follow us for any upcoming events. IIC information, all of that good stuff. You could find it on our social medias at Hynes Institute. Thank you again, Stacey. We're going to sign off here. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. So goodbye.
Thank you.
We really working, Gale Ventures the spot. Bert and May got the podcast hot. We innovating, no debating, we creating. Ionavators in our lane, never hating. We just worry about us and what we do. Ionavation Podcast show, get in tune.